How to understand ADHD overwhelm in 35 seconds. This pen represents a neurotypical brain and the tip of the pen represents a thought. The neurotypical brain only has one tip, one thought, and because of that, it's easy for that thought to turn into an action. This pen represents an ADHD brain. This brain has many thoughts, all trying to start an action at the same time. This thought is, I need to clean my flat. This thought is, I need to return that item of clothing I don't like. This thought is, I need to drink water. This thought is, I need to unpack that suitcase. This thought is, I need to text my friend back. This thought is, I need to pay that parking ticket. And because all of these thoughts are happening at the same time, it creates a chaos inside which blocks any of the thoughts from turning into an action, and therefore nothing gets done. That is ADHD overwhelm.
Here's how time works for people with ADHD. It's currently 2:24 p.m. Let's say I have to be somewhere at 6 o'clock. Okay, so it's 2:24, which means it's basically 2:30, which means it's almost 3 o'clock. So I should start getting ready soon. If I need to be there at 6 o'clock, I should leave around 5:30, which means I have to be ready by 5 o'clock. So really, I don't have that much time to get ready. Also, the time I have between now and then feels like no time at all. So I just end up sitting around, mentally preparing to get ready for what I need to do. And if I have something to do at 6 p.m., from the moment I wake up, let's say at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'll be thinking about that appointment all day until it's time to go.
ADHD and the 5 substances, illegal and legal, that produce the most dopamine. And this is something that I wish I would have known. I got diagnosed with ADD at 13, re-diagnosed with ADHD at 17. And these 5 chemicals are something that those with ADHD, us, struggle with the most because of the amount of dopamine it produces. These are the top 5 illegal and legal substances. Number 5 is actually caffeine. Now, caffeine doesn't necessarily produce dopamine, but it affects a couple of your receptors on how you actually react and handle the dopamine, which in return actually stimulates your brain where it gives a lot more dopamine production. Number 4 is nicotine. Number 3 is alcohol. These are why you struggle with these substances if you're ADHD and why these give you focus. Dopamine is a reward processing neurotransmitter, so it makes you feel good, but it also, for a lot of us who are ADHD, this is what helps us focus. This is why we become hyper-focused. This is how we feel we actually need this stuff because it is actually benefiting us. Number 4, it's number 2, the most dopamine producing substance, crack cocaine and cocaine. That's why there are a lot of coke addicts who are ADHD. Number 1, crystal meth. Those are the top 5 illegal and legal substances out there that produce dopamine, and also the top substances that, guess what, people with ADHD are addicted to, and why we're addicted to. For one reason only. It's the dopamine. And this is stuff that I wish I would have known. We with ADHD are very susceptible to addiction because it self-medicates. It slows us down, takes away the internal dialogue, calms us all down, allows us to function, allows us to focus. This is why there's so many functioning addicts out there also. Get diagnosed, find out what you have, start working through it. This makes a huge difference knowing this because so many people don't understand why they struggle with some of these things. And this is why, because of the dopamine. And this is something I wish I would have known a lot sooner because it was 5 substances that I wish I would have stayed away from.
Does your partner have ADHD? Please stop saying these 3 things to them. Why can't you just do the task? Here's the thing. The ADHD brain works differently to yours. People with ADHD can't just do stuff. They know what needs to be done. In fact, they're acutely aware of what needs to be done, but trying to prioritize all the tasks into some kind of order creates an overwhelm that stops them from doing anything. Seriously, telling someone with ADHD to just do something is like telling an elephant to just climb Mount Everest. It ain't gonna happen. Why are you so lazy? Here's the thing. Chances are your ADHD partner has been masking all day because they have a deep internal feeling of not being good enough and they're desperate to be liked. So when they come home from work and it's time to spend time with you, they're exhausted. Their mind is overanalyzing every social encounter they had that day, and they're in ADHD paralysis. This can often manifest into a session on the sofa, scrolling social media, and this can look like laziness, but they're not lazy, they're overwhelmed. Why can't you just remember? Here's the thing, time blindness combined with object permanence means people with ADHD really struggle to remember things. They've spent their whole life hearing things like, "You chose to forget, didn't you?" No, they didn't choose. They don't have the luxury of choice. It's out of their control. For people with ADHD, forgetting is a valid excuse. One of the advantages of ADHD is the ability to read people. I can hyper-focus on people's micro-communications. I pick up on tiny fluctuations in tone of voice, little changes in facial expressions that neurotypical people miss. I recognise patterns in people's mannerisms, and it enables me to judge someone's character extremely effectively. I can physically feel when someone's giving off bad vibes. It's like a sixth sense. For example, when I meet someone that everyone loves, but my intuition and BS radar starts going off. Or when a celeb gets cancelled and I've been saying there's something off about them for years. My racing mind doesn't miss the details, and it enables me to detect sliminess in someone's character before anyone else. Or when two people at work are having an affair and no one else can see their micro flirtations apart from me. So, if you've got an ADHD friend and they warn you that there's something not quite right about your new partner, listen to them. Trust their intuition, because they have a PhD in spotting red flags.